We'll be back, and this is Smart Means Business. We are continuing with more of information regarding all the business, and not only that, Kickstarter for your day, a Kickstarter that takes you through what is happening across the business world. There are a lot of things that happen, more so from the business, that you can only get them on one TV station, that is Smart 24 TV. How best can you generate and benefit from Smart 24 TV is by making sure that you continue growing your business with us. How do you do that? Advertise with us. That is, we are located at plot 42 Nile Avenue. Please do bring your businesses. Let us advertise your businesses for you, and let us grow your businesses for you, and make sure that we reach out to the people that matter. A number of people do matter. A number of investors, we can pitch those ideas for you as well. And how best can you get to understand the information that is running across the country? Add us up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram on at Smart24 TV. Follow, share, comment, and give us your feedback in regards to business information and the business stories that we air on TV. And as well, you can visit our YouTube channel in case you missed a show and you would want to catch up with that. We have a number of packages for you as well as a viewer. The website is www.smart24tv.com. Add me up on Joram Paul Sonko on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Send them throughout. Joram Paul Sonko. Sonko with the double S. Okay, and it's time to go up to the business reports to check out what is happening from the business world. And this time around, we start from the Uganda Revenue Authority Performance Report. The half-year net collections of financial year 2021 to 2022 hit 45.44% of the annual target. The Uganda Revenue Authority was given a target by the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, which was of 22,365.51 billion shillings, which is 16.10% higher than the actual revenue collection from the past financial year. As a result, in the last 6 months, Uganda Revenue Authority are projected to collect 49.47%, which is representing 11,063.90 billion shillings, an increase of 16.80% from the released revenue for the same period last financial year. While addressing the media, John Musinguzi, the Commissioner General, Uganda Revenue Authority, highlighted the general performance of the agency in terms of revenue collection in the different sectors. Andrew Barije reports.
The Uganda Revenue Authority was given a target by the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development of 22,365.51 billion, which is 16.10% higher than the actual revenue collection from the last financial year. As a result, in the last 6 months, the Uganda Revenue Authority projected to collect 49.47%, representing 11,063.90 billion shillings, an increase of 16.80% from the released revenue for the same period last financial year. While addressing the media, John Musinguzi, Commissioner General, Uganda Revenue Authority, highlighted the general performance of the agency in terms of revenue collections in the different sectors. He disclosed that the shortfalls were largely witnessed from direct domestic taxes, amounting to 273.61 billion, indirect taxes 487.20 billion shillings, and non-tax revenue 190.51 billion shillings. 20.03% of the domestic tax shortfalls was from the non-tax revenues, as Musinguzi explains.
Domestic taxes alone, those are the taxes mobilized within the country, not including international taxes, the customs duties, contributed 6.229 trillion. The target for the domestic taxes in this half of the year was 7.18 trillion. Therefore, the shortfall that I referred to of 900 billion, most of it came from the domestic taxes. The shortfall under the domestic taxes target was 951.32 billion. And therefore, the performance of the domestic taxes alone, percentage-wise, was 86.75%. The shortfalls were from both direct taxes. Under the domestic taxes, we have what we call direct taxes, and as well as indirect domestic taxes. The biggest being in indirect domestic taxes of 487.2 billion. In the non-tax revenue of 190 billion, and under non-tax revenue, there's also appropriation in aid. Those two registered a shortfall. So the next graph shows the performance of the domestic revenues over the same period of 5 years, and it's not very different from what I explained earlier, so I will not take much time on it, but clearly the growth.
However, the international trade taxes, also known as custom tax, realized a year-to-year growth of 389.78 billion shillings as compared to the previous years, despite incurring a shortfall of 26.33 billion against the 4,102.51 billion target.
Report on the international trade taxes, which we otherwise refer to as customs taxes collections. For the first 6 months, we were able to collect 4,076 billion against the target of 4,102 billion. This posts a shortfall of 26.33 billion.
The wholesale and retail trade sector had the most significant contribution, amounting to 3,031.01 billion shillings, a success attributed to the wholesale of solid, liquid and gaseous fuels and related products. The growth of revenue from other sectors, such as the finance sector, has been attributed to the contribution of the mobile commerce due to gazetted regulations by Bank of Uganda's directive to all telecom companies to separate financial services from telecom services.
Period of July to December 2021-22, 75.47% of the revenues collected were generated from the top 5 sectors. These are wholesale and retail sector, which contributed 3.031 trillion, approximately 29.4%. It was followed by the manufacturing sector, which contributed 2.413 trillion, and this is about 23.42%. Followed by the financial sector, which contributed 1.064 trillion, approximately 10.33% of the revenues collected. Information and communication sector came in the 4th position, and it contributed 880.97 billion. Growth in wholesale and retail mainly came from the fuels and related products. The growth in the financial sector came from mainly the transfer of mobile money under regulations by the Bank of Uganda to move into financial services.
The revenue target for the second half of the financial year 2021-2022 inclusive of January 2022 is 12,328.51 billion shillings, which accounts for 55.13% of the annual budget, inclusive of the accumulated deficit for the period July to December 2021. Uganda Revenue Authority has proposed to collect 1,919.65 billion shillings in January 2022, of which 1,791.55 billion shillings has been collected by end of January 2022 before final reconciliations. Barije Andrew, Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24.
Barry Andrew, the URA was supposed to collect 1,919.65 billion shillings in January 2022, and of which 1,791.55 billion had been collected by the end of January before final reconciliation. So it was short of around 2,000 in that. When you look at the revenue target for the second half of the financial year, which is ending June 30th, inclusive of this very January 2022, is supposed to be 12,328.51 billion shillings, which accounts for 55.13% of the annual target, inclusive of the accumulated deficit for the period of July to December 2021. From the period of July to December, that was the first 6 months of that. And with the fact that URA has actually been able to collect 1,791.55 by the end of January. Its target for January was 1,919.65 billion, but it has only collected 1,791.55 billion, short of 2,000. And with that, you can still look and say, if the major target is 12,328.51 billion by the end of the year, then they still have 3 months to go. They still have 4 months to go, actually February, March, April, May, and June, to clearly look at and see that they can beat this particular target for them. When you look at the wholesale and retail trade sector, had the most significant contribution in the first 6 months of the financial year, amounting to 3,031.01 billion shillings, and a success attributed to the wholesale of solid, liquid, and gaseous fuels and related products. Well, with that, let's look at the issue of economic recovery in the country, as market research has been is supposed to be hyped to enhance business profitability, according to Dr. Maji Chigozie. As despite the impact of the pandemic to the small business earnings, strategies are being put in place by the different key sector players and business owners to ensure a new start and resume to profitability and the economic recovery at large. Market research, however, stands a way through to ensure profit and sales maximization, one that most of the businesses should utilize. A recent rapid survey of businesses by the Economic Policy Research Center, that is the APRC, in Uganda, reveals that 3/4 of the surveyed businesses have laid off employees due to the risks such as operating at subsequent losses, which were presented by COVID-19 containment measures. Then the pandemic, as a result, has left many businesses crippled, with a goal to recover sales maximization to the pre-pandemic level. And when you look at this can also help to formulate ideas for low demand, and then create room for over demand. When you look at this expected profit and how best one can market their product, it is very important, though, for one to first decide what information they need to know, and they need to formulate a plan. Andrew Barije brings us the details.
A recent rapid survey of businesses by the Economic Policy Research Center in Uganda reveals that 3/4 of the surveyed businesses laid off employees due to the risks such as operating at subsequent losses, which were presented by COVID-19 containment measures. The pandemic, as a result, has left many businesses crippled, with a goal to recover sales maximization to the pre-pandemic levels. Market research can be a way out for the enterprises to recover sales maximization. This can help to formulate ideas of a demand, expected profit, and how best one can market their product. It's important for one to first decide what information they need to know and then formulate a plan. Professor Maji Chigozie, an entrepreneur and marketing expert, explains why businesses should pay attention to invest in market research to boost sales and profit in the post-COVID-19 era.
Will only buy what they know, what they see, what they've heard about. Therefore, it is a very important part of any business. You don't have to hire expensive marketers. It's something you can do yourself as a business owner, but also you can, friends and, use the media to be able to market, yeah. But it is definitely a very important part of any business.
All right. Then there is an aspect where the people confuse marketing with brand. What's the difference between this?
Well, you need a good brand. As I started with a product. What brand is out there that you are then going to market? Yeah, so they are not quite the same thing, but marketing definitely builds on the brand, because otherwise people don't know the brand until someone has talked about it, has promoted it, has shown it.
The success of any marketing plan put in place is largely backed by the basic strategies put in place and mastering specific principles, as Maggie Chigozi further explains.
Yes, marketing is something I've been doing for a number of years, and we need, first of all, your product. Is it excellent? It's very difficult to market a poor product, so make sure what you are producing is marketable. It meets the quality, it has the necessary everything on it, it looks good. It looks fresh if it is a fresh item. So you start with your product, make it really, really nice. And then now you have to try to sell it. So marketing strategy, how are you going to get people to know about it? You need to look at your how you are going to market and through which channels. Depending on what product you produce, you need to locate, identify who you think your customer is, and then try to get to them. You need to advertise, tell them this is the best product. Find a way of doing the best way and not too expensive. Marketing is often very, very expensive. If you're looking at, newspapers, television, it's quite expensive. And small companies probably may not be able to afford that, but we now have social media, which is a lot cheaper. And depending on your market, of course, some people are not on social media, so then, yeah, you need to rethink how you get to your customer. Is it word of mouth? I think the best marketer of your product is the one who's a happy customer. You tell all their friends that, I bought the best thing from so and so, and that is very beneficial. Of course, if it's the other way around, and they bought your product and it was bad for them, and that's what they say, they can really destroy your business. So worry about your customer, worry about the product first of all, and then worry how you get to link your product with the consumers going to buy it.
Chizito Abdul, a participant in the fashion industry, says marketing is very crucial in the post-COVID era, most especially in such a time when one needs to persuade consumers purchase due to excess low demand.
Marketing now, if you're not doing marketing, you're in darkness. Your business is in darkness. Marketing is the light. I should say it's the light that brings us a business from the darkness, that people get to know you. If you don't do adverts, if you don't tell the customers what you have, they will not know what you have. And if you wait for customers to come to you, this is way gone. This is from the past. You will sit with your products and no one will come to you. Right now, it's few customers that come to people don't have time to come to shops. Now, like you see, most of the roads are jammed with traffic. So most people don't have time to come to your shops. But if you do advertising and marketing, you'll go to people's offices. People will go to the media, they will check Facebook, they will check Instagram, they will check Google. This is where they will see products and then say order, because contacts are always there. They'll call you and say, I want this and this. Like we have Jumia. When you go to Jumia, a lot of products are there. This is now a media. They're using that. Now we have to go to a digital marketing app where people go to that platform. If you wait for customers to come to your shops, then you're gone. So yeah, so it's the best way to do business is to market.
Market research should never be underestimated. Many successful new businesses enjoy longevity because their owners conduct regular market research to understand their target market, identify consumer problems, and pinpoint realistic competitors. Barige Andrew, Smart 24.
Well, when you look at marketing strategies, how best are you going to strategize yourself? The thing is, normally we feel that sometimes we're left behind when it comes to receiving, when it comes to the receiving ends of life. And in the same way, you can look at how market research is important. Market research can also be a tip for anyone out there who's starting business. You need to understand how is the narrative of business in this time. More so with the fact that everyone is trying as much as they can to avoid shortcomings in their businesses, avoiding things like the business collapsing, avoiding things like failure to pull up a business. We've seen a number of businesses collapsing in the lockdown, and not even in the lockdown. A number of businesses in Uganda, like we normally say, is that very few of them have a chance to actually even make a year in there. So you could definitely see, but market research is very important for one who is going to venture into a business. With the fact that now we have a lot of digitalization happening, people are using a lot of social media to try as much as they can do the situation. As if you look at here, the success of any business plan put in place is largely backed by the basic strategies put in place and mastering specific principles. So you have a business plan, but how are you going to execute it? With the business plan, we always have angles in which we can clearly say, hey, if I do this, this is how best I can benefit out of it. If I do this, this is how best I can try to get the better out of my business. If I input this particular amount of money, I will get this amount of money in the long run out of the business. So, clearly, once we are to look at this, we are trying as much as we can as individuals to see that when you set out your market plan, make sure you've done your market research. Your market research is supposed to be on point. Nothing to do with anything. Like you're not supposed to even put yourself in a situation whereby you know nothing about the business. In most cases, ojasanga omuntu nga balina ekiruubirirwa ekikola business naye nga tamanyi kikiri mu business eno. Era awo weekangira nti kikutuulamu, okimala okutuulamu n'okidduka. Omanyi generation gye tulimu y'abantu abamu bagamba y'abantu abakoowu. Ebiseera ebisinga nti omuntu wakola ekintu ajja kugamba nawaaye nfa ki? Bwe kimutuulamu nga he or she has no plans for it, then they end up getting out of the business or they end up closing the franchise. And normally with entrepreneurship, we end up finding out that the business is me and I'm the life of the business. The business is me, I am the business. If I'm not working, the business is not working. If I die, the business dies. So in such a narrative, kwegamba inobeera ne market research omanye nti omuntu wemba omulwadde business esigala etyanga ekola. How the other people do it. So all those are strategies for one to do it. And when you look at what Abdul Chizito, a participant in the fashion industry, he clearly says that marketing is very crucial in the post-COVID era, most especially in a time when one needs to persuade consumers purchase due to excess low demand. There is low demand, but you need to have your marketing on point. People are not demanding for a number of things lately, but they need them. Now, it is no longer that narrative whereby people are going to, remember now Ugandans and not only Ugandans, everywhere you would go, people are more comfortable with their smartphones. So you need to reach out to them. Very few people no longer have time to go to town and say, I want this. They will only go to town when they've seen what is taking them there. So someone is going to scroll social media, is going to scroll around his timeline or her timeline, and mainly to see how or which product they can buy, to see which service provider is out there willing to provide a given service. So it is up to you to learn how to market your product. Marketing, make sure that you market your business. Omuntu mukube business ajenga chayagala achimanyi. Not in a situation whereby omuntu ajja kwebuuza naye ono atunda ki, tugambe amaze okujjowaye otunda ki, ajenga tekiriiwo. So let's look at that and let us grow and learn how to grow businesses with marketing, because with this you can clearly understand that your market research and your marketing strategies will help you enhance business profitability. With this generation, you need to master the game. No manyanti when kola chineno, you know, targeting bebanu client being targeting. So with that, you can grow bigger and better. Well, after the break, with all this said, we shall return with a topic of discussion looking at the accountability of the post-COVID-19 stimulus packages that were laid down by the president. Who benefited? Who never benefited? A number of packages were laid on board. Almost everyone. Were the interest rates so high? Were Ugandans having less information about what was happening? Was that awareness part? Because the awareness is very crucial in most of these scenarios. Those among many discussions that we are coming up after the break with. So we're going to look at the post-COVID-19 stimulus packages and how best can they be put into use. I'm Joram Paul Sonko, and mine is to drive business. This is Smart Means Business. For you who is just joining in, welcome. This is how we do it. Let's take a break. We do return with a topic of discussion.